More weapon balance and spotting changes coming in the 5.22 hotfix tomorrow. More casual orientated changes for Battlefield 5 through the addition of auto-snapping on consoles and the RAVE Easter egg on Wake Island. This is your week on the Battlefield. Welcome to this episode of This Week on the Battlefield, the show where we cover news, updates, the community, and so much more all around the Battlefield franchise. As per usual, there's much to cover, so let's jump straight into it. This week was supposed to be pretty exciting for Battlefield 5. After all, it brought us the third of the Pacific maps, specifically a long-time fan favorite, Wake Island, featured of course on its own respective playlist with Breakthrough and Conquest. For those who haven't played it yet, the map actually offers a variety of engagement distances, but can become quite unbalanced, especially on Breakthrough. Also, vehicles absolutely dominate on this map, be that from the air or more specifically tanks on the ground. Alongside the recent changes with update 5.2, it's currently a slightly imbalanced experience that DICE is likely going to address sometime soon. Alongside the Wake Island release, we have of course week 7 of Tides of War with the See the World assignment, allowing you to unlock both the BAR and a Christmas Bat melee weapon through the addition of an extra note. Speaking actually of Wake Island, the community of course has already managed to unlock the RAVE Easter egg hidden on the new map. Pretty funny if you ask me. Exactly how you go about unlocking this Easter egg, I'll leave of course a link to the original video down below in the description for you to check out if you're interested. Another important note is the addition of course of community games. The extremely limited nature of the current feature set has been promised substantial expansion in the new year. For now, however, it remains largely disappointing given how long it has been in development. And lastly this week, we have the next Battlefield 5 Geforce competition, this time focused on cinematics, specifically from the 3 currently available Pacific maps. You once more have the chance to win one of 5 RTX 2080 Ti's, and given the quite low participation rates on the previous competitions, your chances are actually probably not that bad for winning one if you put in the decent effort. So of course, I'll have the link to all the details on the competition down below in the description. The competition runs until next year, the 5th of January. Next week then in Battlefield 5, as regards our weekly Tides of War, week 8 of Chapter 5, Island Hopping, will allow you to unlock the Pacific Palm skin for the BAR M1918A2, which most likely you unlocked this week. On Monday, so actually less than 24 hours away at this point, we'll also be getting Hotfix 5.2.2. I did a whole video on what exactly is changing in the upcoming update, including a deeper analysis of the past, current and upcoming weapon balance. You'll find it linked in the usual places. However, for those who just want the TLDR version, the 5.22 hotfix will bring a minor scale back of the implemented weapon balance changes, improving damage for some weapons in close quarters by returning their 4 bullet to kill sub 10 meters and slightly bringing down the maximum number of bullets required to kill targets from the previous 13 down to 10. Overall, however, the game will largely play very similar outside of those very extreme and very long ranges, thus don't expect to enjoy gunplay largely anymore if you didn't like what we had with update 5.2. DICE has clarified this is a further fine-tuning of the previous implemented changes and in no way meant to be a scale back or really even compromise. Further to that then, there are some important bug fixes, specifically as regards game performance and stability, as well as some of the spotting and visibility changes that came with 5.2 being quite drastically adjusted. Players will no longer have an icon appear above their head when in close proximity to another player and simply in their FOV. That system is being entirely removed. The icon appearing above a player's head directly when aiming at them will still be in the game, however it has been taken down from the previous within 25 meters to a sub 20 meter limitation. And lastly, the arrows showing players' directions on the minimap are also going to be reverted to the previous system we had with the dots. In a couple of other additions to make that aren't necessarily coming with the 5.22 update tomorrow, in our soon TM category of news, DICE is working on fixing the end of round report issue, though this is something on their end, thus a back-end update is required and not a full game update. Likely this will come sometime towards the beginning of this coming week, just probably not quite on Monday. The excessive amount of tanks on Wake Island is another thing DICE is looking at, particularly of course on Breakthrough, with the Americans being able to field, I think, 4 to 6, maybe even 7 tanks in certain scenarios, which can become quite excessive and unenjoyable to play as if you're an infantry main, and thus once more likely expect to see that addressed sometime soon, yet not quite with the 5.22 hotfix. In community news, this week really featured more of what we had last week. Endless and vocal opposition from the community regarding the time to kill changes and plentiful top tier memes alongside it over on the Battlefield RAVE Reddit page. Of course, the announcement of the 5.22 hotfix has somewhat dampened that anger, at least until the hotfix goes live and everybody can test it out for themselves, but most likely the calls for a complete reversal of this update aren't going to be silenced anytime soon. Unsurprising given that the 5.22 hotfix won't bring any large-scale changes to the previous implemented new weapon balance. In addition, we have a new controversy that popped up this week, something to add to the already burning fire that is the current state of Battlefield 5's community, and specifically, it is the apparent return of auto-snapping to Battlefield 5 on consoles. This wasn't mentioned in the patch notes of Update 5.2, I have to say here, conveniently, but has now actually been confirmed to be in the game once more by the community managers, assumingly for the sake of the more casual players out there. Now, I'm sure the console players amongst my audience will be able to bring me up to speed as to what this really means for gameplay on their respective platform. As PC player, I don't really have too much of an idea what it is, but given the vocal opposition I've heard to this change once more, and given that it is a clear assist for those who are less capable at the game or don't want to put in the time to learn proper shooter mechanics, I find it fair to say that this is, once more, another example of DICE simply targeting the casual player over its already existing, relatively hardcore fan bases. Over in our only in Battlefield moments then this week, we start off with Lice Kane and a classic katana push over on Iwo Jima. Next up, we have Rick Jr. showing us how to take on a whole horde of infantry players if you find your primary weapons to be a little bit too on the weaker side following the 5.2 update. Monkasoid next with the ultimate, humiliating way to take out an enemy AA gunner. And lastly, we have Demirors with a tank v tank wrestling battle, I guess, on Rotterdam to the death. But coming to the end of this week's episode then, if you enjoyed the show, found it interesting or entertaining, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share, and of course hit me up with your feedback, suggestions, and opinions down below in the comments or over on Twitter. With that being said, however, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in the next episode this week on the Battlefield.